Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dual Screens podcast. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and with me, as always, is Andy Asimakis. How are you, Andy?
I get that weird deja vu feeling, Steven.
I do. I feel like we've done this already and are going back, but it's slightly different. It's like a little bit different. And I don't want to vamp too much, Andy, because we got a few complaints about bantering back and forth before introducing our awesome, amazing guests. So we don't want to give those YouTube trolls any more fodder. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a first for us. We returning to the show. We now have both the face and the voice of Returnal, Jane, Perry Anne Beyer. Hello, ladies. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm so excited to be doing this. I'm sure you can see the smile across my face, and you can't see Andy's because Andy is in the woods right now, folks. So his internet is kind of poo-poo. So we don't want to force him to be a slideshow basically for the show. So we do apologize for that. But ladies, the game Returnal is out. It's kind of lit the world on fire a little bit here. It's Andy, I'm sure you remember the sales numbers better than I do, but it's been doing really, really well. The shows with both of you have been doing really well, getting a lot of really great feedback. And you're here. You're like here to talk to. You could like talk to each other now. It's kind of amazing. So it's really, this is a weird show. This is going to be weird because we kind of already know how you each did this individually. We already did that show, so we're just going to kind of talk about the putting the pieces together, right, Andy? Like this is kind of where we can go with this, I think.
I want to know like Anne's reaction seeing the voice that comes out of your face now in the flesh. What is that like for you?
I have a woman crush, I have to say. I'm a little bit starstruck here. So I might be a little bit more quiet than usually today.
So you're actually starstruck of Jane. That's kind of amazing.
That's silly. That's just silly.
I mean, yeah,
especially after. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Especially after also watching her film demo reel. I mean, she's not only an amazing voice actress, but also an amazing on-camera actress. So.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm blushing. Literally, I'm blushing. I'm like,
So, Anne, you had a chance to play the game. Is that correct? Did you actually?
I did.
Yeah. Well, tell us about that experience.
Well, Chad the Bird, who's an amazing, one bird comedy show kind of thing. He used to have his one-man show in Chicago, and now he lives on the web. And he was hosting Selene playing the game. So it was very, very difficult. At some point, he was telling me, "So, Anne, every time you die, you have to drink a shot of tequila."
Oh no! Oh no!
And I'm not really playing a lot of video games, so so I ended up pouring water in my tequila bottle, and because I had to drink so much, because I died like every second. It is difficult. It is very difficult. It's a difficult game. It's a beautiful game.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful. It sounds beautiful. It is a beautiful game.
Andy, you're and I'm with you, Anne, because I'm dog crap at this game. Like I'm still stuck in the first like area. I'm getting better. I will say that. But Andy, you have a little bit more acumen for this type of game, it appears.
I mean, I should say at the onset, I want to apologize to both Jane and Anne. I've killed you both too many times right now.
Several times, yeah.
Don't worry, we won't take it personally.
We're trying not to.
Try not to.
Okay.
It's very weird because now that we know how the sausage was made, every time you die and then you see Anne like come back to life, you're like, oh, I see Anne, I hear Jane. That's weird to me. Like just knowing, like, cause I could see both of your faces almost, but then it's like very much Anne's face. It's just a very weird perspective to see the game from that point of view. Like we've had other voice actors where, they're playing cartoon characters, and that's fine. You could still see their face, but like ultimately it's a cartoon character. This, we're actually seeing Anne's face, but we're hearing Jane's voice. It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Was that weird for you, Anne, when you were playing?
Oh, totally. and I mean, like I used to say, oh, I'm not mad at you for killing me, but now after playing it, it sounds and looks real. So yeah, I am mad for killing me.
Was okay, so minor spoilers here, like minor. I think it's like the first time you go through the first area, there's a point in the game where Selene finds herself as a corpse. What was that like?
Holy moly. It creeped me out.
Yeah, right?
It creeped me out.
Because
yeah.
I mean, it gives me
finding yourself for the first time. It's like, ooh, where does it all stop? When you start playing the game.
Yeah.
Finding yourself.
Yeah.
It's a bit mind-boggling.
Jane, when they were directing that, can you like pinpoint? Because I'm sure they didn't want to tell you, oh, you find yourself. Like I don't know. Sometimes they don't want those kinds of spoilers to their actors. So like, what were they directing you seeing or reacting to?
Well, they did say what you find here is yourself. You find what you discover is your own dead body.
Oh, okay.
And so play the horror and the kind of confusion of that. But as I think I sort of talked about before, you don't really know in advance that that's going to happen. You just go into the session and say, right. Okay, what's going to happen now is, so you just go with the flow. Okay, I've just found my own dead body. All right, let's see what's that like. Okay, I think I got it. Let's go.
Man.
Yeah.
You can never tell that this was two different actors, because I want to ask Jane, seeing you doing the voice and then watching Selene do and do the face acting, how spot on was the emotional range she's portraying combined with your voice work? Like how much in tune were those as you're watching this play out?
Oh, totally spot on. I really have so much admiration, Anne, for what you did, because you played everything so truthfully. And I spent a lot of time looking at your face as I was voicing the game, and I never felt out of sync. And I think this is why this is so nice, actually, to chat with you and to have this conversation, because this happens a lot in computer games where, a lot of voices might be done in a voice studio here in London, and then the motion capture, the facial capture is done in Los Angeles. And it's certainly not the first time that I've had this experience. But in the past, sometimes, for example, I voiced a character for sort of, I don't know, let's say 6 or 7 months before they started doing motion capture in LA. And then they brought the two together. And when they brought the two together, I realized, oh my goodness, the actress in LA has a completely different rhythm from me. So I've established this character vocally, and she's established her own character. And when you put the two together, it was a little bit of a mismatch. And so that was a kind of an odd and strange experience. But I think, Housemarque was great because I always had Anne to work with through the whole thing. So it was very easy to kind of create a character with Anne, even though she wasn't, physically in the room with me. But I had the footage to work with, and that was super useful and really informative because, the expressions that you have are really indicative of what's going on. So it really informed where I was at and what I needed to do and what I might be feeling. So it was a really great process.
Do you think that speaks more to the simple process of doing motion capture first and giving the voice actress or actor a touchstone, or do you think it's more of a testament to the directing, the actual process? Because it seems like you got really good information to work off of, but also I can't imagine it's much easier to do that performance when you could see Anne, basically. You could see Selene.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I wouldn't see Selene with every single thing that we did, but I saw enough to know, okay, this is what's happening here. And of course you couldn't, by the time, when you're voicing stuff, you don't see the beautiful game that you see now, all the details and everything. You just sort of see a general kind of atmosphere, or maybe shapes, and if there's a mountain, I'll sort of see the mountain that we're climbing up and that sort of thing. so the direction and the information that you get in the moment is absolutely crucial. And it just goes, I mean, it goes such a long way to helping me anyway create a good performance, or hopefully a good performance, or one that sounds relatively reflective of what's going on in that moment. Yeah, but I think it is handy to have the motion capture first, actually, and the voice later, because I learned that, you know, from that other experience I was talking about. It's like we if we move our bodies in a certain way, we all have a sort of different tempo and a rhythm, and of course that affects how we speak. And you know, some people speak really quickly, and some people are really laid back and really slow, and so you know, if you don't have consensus on that with the body and the voice, then there is this little weird disconnect.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen so much if the body work is done first.
And before I kick it to Andy, did you get a feeling that you were setting in motion who Selene was going to be from a physical perspective? Did you feel that whatever you were coming up with in your performance, did you realize that was going to be where this character is going? It's not necessarily somebody else is going to change what you're doing because of the voice or, you know, the body work or whatever. Because I think the first thing you see in this game from Selene is the exhaustion and the fear and the chaos and the confusion. Like, you see all that in like 10 seconds. And that sort of sets everything in motion. Did you have a feeling that, or did you have a grasp of the gravity of what you would be doing in that session?
I didn't, and I was totally in the zone. Like, I didn't even think about how it will look and all that. I was literally sitting in this room with hundreds of cameras around me, and the face director, he directed me in certain ways, and it just pulled out for myself, and it just pulled out, and there was no room actually to think, how will that look like? How do I look like? It was just like portray emotions, and just you know, completely staying connected, because the emotions he was guiding me through were quite very personal, intense emotions. So, you know, if you get into your head and think, how does it look like? You can't really portray it truthfully. That's what I think of a method actor anyway. But yeah, no, I did not realize that they would actually use literally every facial expression. I did watching the trailer, as I mentioned in my previous interview. Watching the trailer, it was literally everything we did in the trailer. And holding my breath, because I literally thought, now I have to recreate the feeling of dying, and literally holding the breath until I turned red, and portraying everything. Yeah, but no, I did not realize the impact.
So, and did you have the script in advance, or was it sort of similar to my experience where you'd show up on the day and they'd be like, okay, here's what's going to happen today?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't even know I was, I thought I was underwater. I thought I was drowning. I thought this whole game was about someone being underwater.
Yeah.
I'm not in space. But I have to say, the casting director, whoever cast us, they did a great job because I totally agree that sometimes I see, games where the body or the face doesn't really match the voice. But this is, and I said that before, Selene to me is like dream woman. Like, the body is perfect, the voice is perfect, and I have to live with this face. But
face is perfect. Face is perfect, Andy.
A really good face.
So.
Andy.
Yeah.
I do want to get Anne, your response or reaction to Jane saying that you crushed it on your end. Hearing those words now.
I know. I said thank you. No one heard it, but thank you. No, those are moments, you know, as actors, you're always going on a roller coaster. You know, when you book something, you're all like, yay, I'm awesome. And then you don't book something for several months. And then it's like, I'm a horrible actress. And those words are just, there's a special place in my heart. And those words, I just remember every time I'm in this dark place. Thank you for that, Jane.
Oh yeah, totally. I just remember being in the studio and asking the guys, who is this actress? She's really, really good. And they said your name, and I, you know, as is often the case, as I said before, frequently the motion capture is done in a completely different country for some reason. And I didn't know you. I hadn't obviously come across you because you're in LA and I'm in London. But yeah, I was really super impressed. So.
Yeah. I really hope this, and this may sound stupid and obvious, but I really hope that the success of this game opens the door for like more leading roles for you, for both of you. Because I think you proved in like, and your sessions weren't terribly long, right? You said you went in, was it one day, two? I don't remember. It was one day, right? Yeah. That's incredible that. And honestly, just from this, and that's one of the things that Sony does so well is they tell stories and they make things very personal, and it's very very cinematic what they do. And there's room for this. There's room for this franchise. There's room for these characters. There's room for Selene. And Andy could speak more to you know the ending, and you know maybe off camera because we don't want to spoil it for anybody who's still trying to work through it. Me, but there. I mean, this could be a huge thing. Like Sony really likes to expand upon their intellectual properties and make things into franchises. You got your Uncharted, your Last of Us, your God of Wars, your Horizon, your Spider-Man. Like they really like to go this route. And I think this game is kick-ass enough, and it's obviously high production. Like like Andy, I'm sure you agree with me. I mean, this game is stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And you know, the people are behind it so far, and I really hope that this opens up a huge moment for you. Like, you guys should be household names with this franchise, like hands down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have either of you seen the kind of games Housemarque did before this? I'm just curious. Like, this is a huge leap for them in terms of scope.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's a big step up for them, and it's, I think, probably the beginning of probably many amazing projects. I think, you know, they've kind of thrown everything at this, from what I can understand, and it's I'm so thrilled for them that it's been such a great success, and so I'm sure that, you know, they're going to continue producing games like Returnal on this level.
Yeah. Andy, go ahead, bud. I've been talking way too much.
Well, I did want to ask Jane a question. This is more of a, if you can respond to a comment we got on our last interview. I just want to see how this might get the blood boiling a little bit. It's in regards to what you do, the voice acting profession, how it is, quote unquote, the easiest job imaginable. Your take on that, Jane?
Pull up a seat, everyone. This is going to be a wild ride.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Tell him, Jane. Tell him.
Well, I invite whoever said that to audition for a computer game. See how they get on. Maybe they're a games actor already. I don't know. Maybe they have a real easy time of it, but it is not easy. I don't think it's easy to put yourself in these circumstances without very much support, really. I mean, we mentioned that you get tremendous support from your director, and that's super important, but you don't have all the other things that actors would have in film and TV. I mean, I guess there's a perception, okay, you show up, you've got your script, you don't even have to learn the lines, you know, you just say it and you're fine. But I think we've all heard some not so great voice acting out there. Correct me if I'm wrong. So if it was so easy, then every performance we heard would be brilliant. But the fact of the matter is that you have to really engage your imagination, and you have to be able to work super fast. You know, I did 45 hours of recording at a very quick pace, and you're going into mental and physical territory that can be exhausting. I mean, voice work can be exhausting. If it's very unnatural, for example, to scream and yell for 2 hours or 4 hours. We don't really ever do that. So you have to be able to do that and still bring truth and authenticity to that. And, you have to be able to cold read. And I think it's harder than one might think it is.
Can you explain to the people who don't know what cold reading is?
Cold reading is when you're just given a script and you just have to read it right off the bat without any previous preparation.
Is it very similar to I'm a SAG member. I've done, I've had my thing, but I'm trying to like let other people know how this is like. Essentially, it's like an audition that you don't know what part you're rolling for or you're auditioning for, what role. And you go in there and they hand you a sheet of paper with some highlighted lines and they're like, okay, you're up in 5 minutes. And you just look at the thing, and then you go in, they have the camera on, and you do the scene with whoever the cast, whoever's reading the other side of the lines. And I imagine that the situation you went into is basically that, but for every single scene. It's like, here you go, here's the thing, and let's do the thing.
I think that's kind of true, and you have to have a huge amount of agility. You have to bring something to your performance, first of all, some ideas, a sense of how you might react in the given circumstances of the scene. And then the director or, the client, in this case, Housemarque, might say, actually, no, let's try something different. So you have to be prepared to just drop what you just did and go down a completely different path and really commit to it. And I kind of like that. You're sort of always on the edge of your seat. There's always a sense of like, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I'm just going to go wherever I'm encouraged to go because I trust my director and my fellow collaborators and see what happens. And I think for some people that can be really hard because you kind of want to hang on to what some actors want that. They feel safer just hanging on to the way they decided to do it or maybe not committing fully or whatever. And I think good acting across the board requires this sense of going into unknown territory, being prepared to meet things that you never even anticipated. When I say being prepared to meet things, I mean being prepared to have things happen in the scene or happen in your own performance that surprise you. I think that's what makes really interesting and engaging acting, whether it's voice and on camera and on the stage. So yes, it is about agility and quickness and presence, being super present. And you mentioned you go into the zone, you just go into that space and you're ready to sort of work and do what's asked of you. So there's a lot of different elements that have to come together, I think, for a computer game performer to do what they do.
Andy.
So it sounds more difficult than actual acting in a lot of ways.
Well, I think in some ways it is because, when I'm in the theater, for example, I've got 3 or 4 weeks of rehearsal and I've got a costume and I've got fellow performers to work with and a script that I've had for, maybe weeks before I actually get into the rehearsal process. And there's just so many, there's so much time, right? In computer games, we have no time at all. And I think that those things start to feel like a luxury. And the same in film and TV. You've got a set, you've got your fellow performers, you've got your lines, and they've got their lines, and you can work with them. And, in computer games, you have to make all that stuff up in your own head. You have to see it really clearly in your own head. And sometimes that's hard, it's not always. Sometimes I just think, oh gosh, I can't dredge it up. I can't imagine this scenario. And how am I going to get there? How am I going to do this? So. But my blood is not boiling that person said that.
Well, it comes from a place of just not knowing, right? Like that's really what it comes down to. Like, and that's why I think it's important to like define these terms because
totally.
Acting is probably the most fun job anyone could have, period. Like, I don't care what you maybe Ice Cream Man is more fun. I don't know. But like, I can imagine going in there and just be like, pouring whatever. But like anytime I've ever had to do any sort of performance, it's like even this is a form of performance for us. And it's just the most fun thing ever. And sometimes people equate fun with easy, and that's not the case. Baseball players have a lot of fun playing baseball. Professional athletes have a lot of fun, but they work their asses off at being as good as they are. And I think that's an important touchstone to understand that acting is not, it is a job. There's a reason why there's not 5,000 Tom Cruises. Like there's one Tom Cruise because he does what he does exceptionally well, and he is rewarded for that. And what I want to see happen here, but I hope Housemarque goes, okay, well, Anne's kick-ass, and now we know what Anne can do. Jane's kick-ass, we know what Jane can do. Let's make another character for Returnal 2, the Returning, and we'll have Jane, the Returnaling. We'll have Jane physically perform the villain. And we'll have Anne voice the villain, and they'll be chasing each other. That would be trippy. I'd be all about that.
Good. I like that idea. Yeah.
So, voice act, just to come back to the voice acting aspect of it. All voice actors I know are actually better on camera actors because they really know their full instrument. And when I say instrument, I mean, your voice, your physicality, your emotional expressions, because controlling your voice with emotions is just so difficult. And I shared with you guys, I think I shared it with you, that I was cast in a game, in a video game my husband produced, and I sucked so badly as a voice actor.
Oh no!
They recast me, and my husband was the producer. So just to give an idea of how difficult voice acting is, because as an on-camera actor, you have the full package to present and for people to read you. But if you only have your voice, you really need to know how to control and feed your voice so it brings across certain expressions.
Right.
Super, super difficult. Very difficult.
And no two experiences are the same either. Like you see some studios record it where the voice actor is in the full getup and being recorded live doing the scene. And like the scene, you see that with The Last of Us and Uncharted, like they're playing in a space where it's all green screened and they have the whole suit on with all the balls, and like they're mic'd up because they're doing the scene, and they actually take that. I mean, they'll do some other VO work to kind of fill in the blanks, but they're actually physically performing that scene. Do you think that would be a better scenario for you, Anne, as an actor? Like that would be like the way you would want to do something?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll get Housemarque on the phone. We'll be like, listen.
I think that is nice to do. I've done that a couple of times with Hitman and Alien Isolation, where it was, so that's called performance capture as opposed to just motion capture. And that is nice to have the opportunity to be the character completely, because it's holistic, isn't it? It's you're using all of you. And I think that is acting. I mean, splitting it up into bodies and faces and voices is a very unusual approach to creating a character. And it is only something that happens in computer games. You don't see that anywhere else. So I think they're asking a lot, stitching all these different elements together with different people in different countries. However, it does work. I mean, Returnal's a great example of that. This is a character that, actually it's 3 women, isn't it, who's created it. And what is the name, Anna, of the woman who plays the body? Is it Tuija?
Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it. So yeah, Tuija. Yeah. I think she's Swedish. Yeah.
Okay, right. And is she in LA, or did she do that in Sweden? Or
I think she did that in Sweden, but I have to say that was the only lady with that name I found online. So maybe it's someone completely different. But the lady I found online, she lives in Sweden. She is a gymnast.
Right.
And,
that makes sense.
So,
and therefore has the perfect body, as you mentioned.
Well, don't worry. Andy's on the search. We want to complete this. This.
I've reached out. I've heard nothing. Could have been the wrong one for all we know.
That's fair. Now, Andy, you had a very interesting idea for our rapid fire. And
I did, but I do want to say a few more comments.
Absolutely. Yes, let's
hop
do it.
into that. More on the positive side. This is more on the face and the voice, how they worked together in this game. And this comment made me so happy. This is one of the few times in the game where the voice and the face were so well matched. I'm not hearing a voice actor. I'm just seeing Selene. Selene is strong, tough, analytical, and a serious person just in her tone. Also, the sound in this game is completely nuts.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is very true. Yeah, like just congratulations. Like there's really no other way to put it. Like you guys nailed it. It's a home run.
Well, I have something to share. You know, I think that Anne and I have something in common.
I know.
We both have Great Danes. And therefore, there's something about us inherently that is similar because we have these two. Well, I have one. You've got two dogs, don't you? One of which is a Great Dane. So we've got these great big beasts in our lives. And I think somewhere along the line that, you know, that has joined us cosmically.
I know. And when you did in your interview, when they were asking you, would you rather sleep with 100 stray dogs or, and you said, oh, rather sleep with 100 dogs. I'm like, yes, that's my girl.
Yeah, for sure. I would introduce you to my dog, but he's downstairs sleeping, as they sort of do for hours on end.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I'm a dog person, but I like small dogs, ones that I can, you know, strangle if I need to, or just cuddle to death sometimes, or just lord over. And the idea, because my fiance is a short guy, so a big dog would overwhelm him entirely. So he can't have that. He can't have that. He can't have me and a dog be against him.
Oh,
in the size department. Yeah, I think being like a big dog person is a very unique temperament to have it in your life, because it's a lot of work and it's a special personality to have that in your life. So I can see how both of you synchronize on a whole different level, and it shows through in the work, and it's just a fantastic thing to see, and I love it.
Cool. Thank you.
So
thank you. Yeah.
our viewers and listeners really, really love Rapid Fire, because it's a way for them to get to know you in a way that they wouldn't expect. Very strange questions, just to kind of get into your brain a little bit, and, you know, maybe a little bit of your personal past and whatnot. Now, we've both done this with you, the both of you individually, and a lot of our questions, sometimes they come repeat questions. So we want to change this up a little bit. We want the two of you to get to know each other. So we want Anne and Jane to rapid fire each other.
Oh, God.
Ask each other whatever questions you want, and get whatever off the cuff answers from each other that you'd like for the next few minutes. And if you need help, we'll guide you along. Andy will guide you along, because again, I've been talking way too much this episode. So we'll let it start with Anne. And what would you like to ask Jane in our rapid fire section?
Pasta or salad?
Salad.
Okay, Jane, service. Go hit it back.
Mountain or sea?
Sea.
Okay, that's good stuff.
Film and TV or theater?
Oh, I can't choose. I do love the theater. Okay, I'll say theater, but it's been a while. Film, TV, or theater?
Film, TV.
Okay.
There you go.
Motorcycle or a Porsche?
Porsche.
Ooh.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning person. Wow. Trying to find something the viewers would like to hear as well. But
No, this is about you guys. This is about the two of you.
House or apartment?
House. Would you rather take a trip to the moon, or would you rather go to the bottom of the sea?
Oh, trip to the moon.
Okay. Okay.
Europe or America?
Europe.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I know what your answer
Me
to
too.
that one would be, being that you
Me
live
too.
in America. You too, Andy?
I'll take Europe any day.
Let's see, what else? Let's see. Chicken or egg?
Okay.
That's a tough one, actually. Chicken. Vegetarian or meat?
Vegetarian.
Yes.
I got one.
Yeah.
All right. And you can both answer. We'll go with Anne first. Anne, you just got a phone call from the Housemarque casting director, and he says Jane's been arrested for a horrible crime. What has Jane done?
She rescued a dog from some political leader.
Okay. All right.
Right, Jane,
That's
you get the
exactly.
same phone call.
Yeah.
Phone call, Jane. It's about Anne. What has she done?
Anne has oh God, I don't know. Anne has run through the streets of LA with I don't know. I don't know.
Is she streaking? That's I think it's going to be going
I
for at
think
some point.
that's what I saw in my mind.
Wow.
With
Okay.
blue
We're digging
behind
deep now.
her
This is
and
interesting.
fairy wings and running like super fast.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what she's done.
So you're an escaped experiment, apparently. Like you just got through. Okay. All right. Same question, but for Andy and I.
Oh boy.
So, Anne, you'll answer for me, and Jane, you'll answer for Andy. So,
Okay.
Anne, what did I do to get myself arrested?
You got caught selling dope on the street.
All right. Okay. Hey, it's lucrative, I guess. Right? That's what I heard. That's what I've read.
That answer came way
Very
too
quickly.
for Anne.
Very quickly.
Andy, what have you done? You have tried to raise a whale in a swimming pool in central New York, and it got too big, and you just let it get way out of hand, and you are arrested because of that.
I feel like this has to happen in my life at some point.
Because this is the second time that scenario has come up on this show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That is extraordinary.
Yeah, go listen to an episode with the creator of Fish Tanks, because they won a whale and they didn't know what that meant.
Oh, right. Really?
Yes.
Oh.
And so we thought about what that would mean, winning a whale. Of course, it's just adopting a whale, and you get to name, whatever. But yes, that exact scenario came up.
I feel like, sometimes you have the voice can match the face in Returnal so beautifully. I feel in this scenario, my face does match the crime. Like you'd say, oh yeah, that guy totally would do that. Would just raise a whale in captivity and have it go belly up at some point.
It's like those people who buy pot-bellied pig thinking, oh, we're going to have a little pig pet.
No, you
Pig
won't.
pet. And then the little pig goes into a great big huge sow, and they keep it. There's this couple in Canada. I can't remember where they are. In Ontario, I think. And they just, they fell in love with their pig, even though it became about, half a ton heavier than they were expecting it to be.
Jeez.
And so they have this lovely pig that hangs out, and it's their friend. So,
That's awesome.
These things happen.
We're gonna do one more question. We're not gonna do our ceremonial final question because you've already answered it. But here's a good one in that vein. If you could have one animal as a pet that's not your traditional pet, what would that animal be?
I quite like a little alien, like E.T. Now maybe they're not classified as animals, but yes, a little alien creature wandering around the house would be
okay.
Lovely.
And
Bear.
a bear?
Yeah, panda bear.
A panda. Okay, yeah. They're not so threatening. I was gonna say like a Kodiak, like one of those big boys. I mean, I guess if they're domesticated and I don't know. What about you, Andy? I want to ask you. What do you want to own?
Oh my God. What do I want to own? You know what's not super intense or crazy, but maybe a ferret.
Yeah, ferrets are legal in some places. I think they actually are in New York.
They seem fun in an unpredictable and insane way. A lot like me.
They definitely have a ferret. Yeah.
That's
far more accessible than my alien, I think.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that because we got so many comments on how much Anne looks like Sigourney Weaver in Alien. They were saying like serious Ellen Ripley vibes. And then Jane, who's also been in Alien Isolation. It all
weird.
Just comes together.
It's almost as if casting directors know what they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
I always used to think casting directors are useless until I started to actually be in the business. I'm like, oh my God, this is perfect.
No, they are. Oh gosh, no, they're not useless. They just contribute so much to film and TV and obviously games too. And up until quite recently, weren't recognized for it. They weren't recognized for any awards or anything like that. But they're so good, choosing the casts and sorting out talent. And I have a lot of respect for casting directors. And I'm not just saying that because I want to be cast in stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's
no,
true.
I totally agree. There should be a category at the Oscars, and that's what we are all fighting for right now.
Yeah.
But they are the first on the job. They are the first, on the production team, pre-production team, and yeah.
Yeah, they're starting to get BAFTAs over here, which is fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah,
it's good.
Ladies, what do you want to say as our final word here? What do you want to say to the fans of Returnal, to the players out there? What do you want to tell them as your parting words from this interview? And we'll start with you.
Oh no, Jane was just about to say something.
Okay, all right. So you think about it. I'm going in like this order. Like I have you guys on a screen, so I was just going down that order. All right, Jane, you could start us off.
I was just gonna say, keep enjoying the game, and also thank you so much for playing it. And I hope you get a lot out of it. It was such a pleasure to work on. And Housemarque is such a great company. And I think what they've produced is phenomenal. So we're just so happy that people are enjoying it and keep on enjoying it.
Yes, I couldn't have said it better. Thank you guys for playing it, for enjoying it. And thank you for having us. And thank you, Housemarque. Awesome game.
Well, folks, that is going to bring us to the end of the show. If you liked this video, if you liked this interview, please consider leaving a like, a thumbs up, a subscribe, and if you're listening on iTunes, please review the show. If you want to support us on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/NDS-podcast. Just like our 3 Patreon producers, Colton the Apprentice Nestler, Vegas Girl on Fire, and FNH Paul. It was an absolute pleasure having you on, ladies. This was freaking-tastic. Where could everybody find the two of you on social media?
What am I? I'm jane.elizabeth.perry on Instagram and at Jane Liz Perry, I think, on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at Anne Beyer 777 on Instagram, and that's the only social media platform I use. Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, you did comment on YouTube, so you do have you're a little sneaky on YouTube. You're in the comment section, so watch what you say, viewers.
I'm not really using it.
All right, watch what you say.
But hey, one more thing. To really follow up with us actors, guys, look us up on IMDb. It's the International Movie Database. So Jane Perry with her name on IMDb and Anne Beyer with my name on IMDb.
Wonderful.
Good point.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, listeners. And as always, please be excellent to each other.